Current was weak, but the confined space where she had landed meant that her body was partially wedged between the walls of the narrow stream bed. She was in a sideway position, and now the problem was not just to fight through the pain, get freed from the stuck position, but also to make sure she keeps her head up enough so that she doesn't drown. She tried to move, but every shift sent waves of pain through her spine and legs. Above, the group had erupted into chaos. Someone shouted her name. A caver scrambled toward the ledge, peering down into the hole she had disappeared through. Light beams danced along the rocky edges, illuminating the churning water below. A man from the group carefully made his way down the steep passage, using his arms and legs to brace himself. When he reached the bottom, his headlamp revealed Susan's crumpled form, half submerged in the stream. Blood ran in thin rivulets down her face, and her breathing was shallow. He asked for help, so a few more came down. They used whatever tools they had to break away the walls of stream bed and create space for her to move. The rock holding her were weak and brittle since they were underwater for maybe years. The men dragging her out of the narrowest section, pulling her onto a small dry ledge above the waterline. Every movement drew sharp gasps from her as broken bones shifted beneath her skin. Meanwhile, above, Gillespie had realized the severity of the situation. He turned and rushed back toward the cave entrance, moving as quickly as possible over the rugged terrain. His only option was to get out and call for help. When they reached Susan, she was barely conscious. Her body was shutting down from hypothermia. Her skin was pale, her lips tinged blue. A medic crouched beside her, checking vitals. Realizing that she was hypothermic, they needed to warm her fast. They wrapped her in emergency blankets, but the damp air made every attempt at preserving body heat difficult. The team splinted her broken leg and immobilized her spine, knowing that moving her the wrong way could make her injuries worse. Then came the hardest part, getting her out. The narrow bypass passages made carrying a stretcher nearly impossible. In some sections, the rescuers had to maneuver her through tight squeezes, where the walls barely allowed room for a single person. The confined spaces forced them to pass her along in a slow, agonizing relay, inch by inch. Hours dragged on. The rescuers fought exhaustion as they worked in the near-freezing conditions, their bodies aching from the strain. The dampness seeped into their clothes, and their fingers went numb as they gripped ropes and braced against jagged rock. By midnight, they finally neared the entrance. The final ascent was grueling. Lifting her out of the cave required a coordinated effort with pulleys and raw strength.